Today we're gonna be taking a look at how to side crow. Okay, so side crow, beautiful arm balance that I'm gonna show you today. I remember I learned this balance in capoeira, and if I'm not mistaken, sorry capoeira people if I'm wrong, I think they call it queda. But in capoeira, I learned it in a different way. I'm gonna show you that way as well today because I think it might be good as well to try it. Perhaps it gives you a little bit more security when it comes to actually balancing on your hands. But let's take a look. As all the other arm balances, it's a good idea to understand how to build a safe and strong base and build up from there. So let's take a look at the base of this pose. So the base in side crow is more or less the same base as in crow. The difference is now that we have to move the hands to the side and we need to use this rotation on the spine to achieve this pose, not the same as in crow. So I'll show you the difference, but the similarities as well. So crow, we place hands forward, fingers, our index fingers are facing forward. Remember, active fingers every time, handstand, crow, side crow, any arm balance, any time that you're balancing on your hands and arms, it's very important to keep the active fingers because remember, the idea is that they help us wiggle the weight. If we go too much forward, we press through the fingers and it brings us back. You can do this actually if you've never done any hand balance or arm balance before. If you want to just play with doing this, going forward and then whoop, pushing you back through your fingers. So first, fingers active, index fingers facing forward, fingers are spread. We really use the entire strength of our hands to keep us balanced. And in crow, we place the elbows back. We bend slightly the elbows. There's some people that I've seen that they do it more high like this. That's also a different variation. I do it with my elbows bent and we bend the elbows, we look forward, we take the weight towards the hands even more than you think and we lift off the feet. Now, similarities, same position of the hands, same position of the elbows, perhaps the elbows are going to be even more bent. But now the difference is that we need to build this on the side. And I know it's a bit challenging. To me, it's really challenging to do it towards the left, for example. It's always good to train both sides. But if you want to start by the side that you feel it's more comfortable to rotate, you can try first to keep your knees forward and try to lock the opposite elbow against the hand. So you're going to do a twist with your spine. And then from here, we need to same position of the handstand in crow, fingers forward, spread the fingers, bend the elbows. And I want to show you where to put the elbows. So in my body, I put the front elbow more or less around the height, a little bit lower the knee. And the other elbow, I put it more or less around my hip. Some people put it a little bit more up. Some people will find it a little bit more down. Again, I encourage you to find this in your own body because sometimes we think that there's this like exact measure of the position on the alignment, and in reality it isn't because there is not two people the same. So try to wiggle and play around with this in a safe way, of course, so you don't just let's go do side crow and then you land on your head. So be gentle, use the little bit of wiggle first without lifting off the feet, and then you can start to lift the feet off. But again, I'll do it more or less towards the diagonal. So the position of the hands is the same as in crow. If you want to know how to learn crow, because you don't, I've got a cool video. I will link it at the end of the video. Perhaps I do a little screen here for you to click it and go check how to crow. If you're like, I've got this, I know how to crow, so I know the position of the hands. Anyway, I've just mentioned it like 20 times. So we place one elbow, the front elbow more or less around the knee, and the other more or less around the hip. Yes, more or less there. Now, We can first play with leaning the weight. And again, just the weight. I just lift off my feet, but you can just play with only wiggling the weights and finding where do you want to put the elbows. The image that helped me a lot to understand this is that I need to use my arms as a shelf, right? You have a shelf, you put something on. This is the same. The back of my upper arm is gonna be the shelf. So I need to create this shelf. I'll show you like this. This will be my shelf and this on the other arm. And I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna place my body on that shelf. Now, I did mention before that in capoeira I learned it in a different way. So in capoeira I added a third point on the balance, that was the head. So if you would like to try it first like this, I go for it. I encourage you to do so. This is the way I learned it. So I learned same position of the arms, but instead of flying, I would rest my head, but just rest it, not like collapse the leg. Just rest a little bit the side of your head and then come back. Again, this was very helpful for me because it adds a third point to rest the base. So the base is bigger because it has 3 points now, not just my arms. But if you're like, no, I want to learn it how, just like directly how to fly, I want to rest my head, of course you can do so, but let me show you one more time with the head. So the knees are gonna be together, the feet are gonna be together, the spine is gonna be slightly round so we can create a more stable shoulder position, and then we lift perhaps you can lift the feet first, rest the head, and then lift off the feet. And even if you want to start there and then try to use the power of your fingers to lift the head off the floor, then go for it. Is a great idea too, like so. So I'm here, and then with my fingers, I am lifting my head off the mat. Important things to remember. Position of the hands, spread fingers, active fingers. Use the tip of your fingers, your knuckles and palm to create this stability and this big and wide base. Elbows are gonna be bent. And in this case, not like in crow, we're gonna need to rotate the spine and maybe a little bit of a side flexion as well. As I said before, and I'm not gonna get tired of saying this, bodies are different, my loves. And we need to learn to check on how my body likes this pose. If I think like, no, I feel like it's too restraining to place my elbow on my hip, perhaps I want to place this elbow a little bit higher, more towards my ribs, not literally on the ribs. So perhaps as well, you need to find your own base of support in your own body, respecting your own anatomy. Challenging as well, but really remember that we are unique. So I remember people telling me, no, your elbow should be more low, no, lower. And then someone else will come and tell me, no, your elbow should be, I don't know, on your neck. And then the other one, no, your elbow should be on your low. And I remember getting so confused because it was like so many different opinions. And in reality, I needed to find it in my own body. So I do encourage you to listen to my advices, but don't take them too seriously, right? Just play around yourself. So remember, you can do it capoeira style with your head resting on the floor, not collapsing on the floor, just like resting. Remember that from there you can build the strength of your fingers and push you back up. But if you're like, nah, none of those, I don't like any, and you just want to try straight away flying, you can, of course, position your body. And now, where do I look? Because in crow, remember, I always tell to look forward because it helps much better. In side crows, I will tell you to look forward as well. You could choose to look down and forward, like so. I'm gonna go to the side so you can see. You could choose to look forward like so. Yes. Oh, good. Great. You could also choose to look literally forward, like so. Perhaps with the head down and push up. This is an actually super cool exercise for finger strength, to understand the power of the fingers to wiggle the weight. We've learned how to put the fingers, how to put the hands, where more or less to position the elbows. I've already explained that you need to find the position where it finds you comfortable. I also want to clarify that it might happen that it can feel a bit painful sometimes, the elbow against the legs. It depends on the type of body that you have. Sometimes for me, I remember at first I was really doing it against my hip bone, and it was really hurting me. So I thought like, no, I need to go down to my thigh, so it's more cushioning there. But again, find your own, and yes, it might feel a bit punching there at the elbow, but once you start building up strength, you will see that you won't really need to rest 100%, like poof, all your weight on the elbow. You will see that you will start to find a little bit of better balance to know where to position the body. Okay, so remember that side crow is side crow because it is very similar to crow, but in this case we're gonna create the same base, but we're gonna need to rotate the torso and side bend slightly. Of course you can be scared, but if you build it little by little, you will see that you will remove all this fear. As always, I really encourage you to visualize. Just close your eyes before doing this and imagine yourself, even if you've never seen yourself doing a crow, imagine doing the best, holding the best crow ever, but also imagine falling safely from this crow and coming back to standing and trying again. And last but not least, remember, same as in other arm balances, we have these nerves, beautiful, lovely nerves that run all the way from our neck, through our shoulder, elbow, wrist, up to the fingers. And these nerves sometimes can be a little bit stuck, can be a little bit entrapped here and there, because they have to wiggle throughout our muscles and bones. And if you feel like your fingers or your wrists or your elbows or your shoulders feel funny, weird, perhaps it's a good idea to floss your nerves with care. And trust me, since I've been flossing, I've honestly improved a lot on my handstands and my arm balances in general, because it gives you more freedom. The signals go way faster and way better all the way to the arms, so your arms and wrists and fingers can move way better. So flossing the nerves, try, play around, don't take it too seriously, just play and see what happens. And yes, I hope this has been very helpful. If you want to do a wrist warm-up, I've got a video that you can go check out. Perhaps it's gonna appear somewhere here. You can click and go do some wrist and fingers warm-up. If you like this video and you know anyone that can benefit from it, please feel free to share the love, like, and comment if you actually try to do this pose. Let me know how it goes. Subscribe to my channel for more weekly free content, and hit the notification bell if you want to be the first one to find out when I upload videos. And I will see you on the mat very soon. Bye bye.